Hello, my name is Scott Christopherson. I'm the lead mechanic here at the Hassel Shop. Today's videos we'd like to discuss adjusting your mechanical disc brakes, and we'll touch a little bit on adjusting your drum brakes also. If your bike has mechanical disc brakes on it, what we're going to do is you're riding, you're hearing some dragging sounds. You can pick that up. We'll get a little dragging here. The pads need to be adjusted. Sometimes you can buy with just adjusting the pads, but for today I'm going to start with mounting the caliper and getting it adjusted properly. When the caliper is on the bike, if you loosen these two bolts, we don't need to take them real loose, just enough so that the caliper can move. As you can see, the caliper will move freely now. You want it to be able to move around a little bit. What you're going to do is, once you have it there, grab your brake lever, squeeze the brake lever. What this in theory will do is center the caliper on the rotor. Once you have it, while you're holding the brake tight, tighten down these bolts. They will hold the rotor or the caliper in the new position. Most all disc brakes have some way of adjusting the caliper this way. The model we're working on is an Avid BB7. Once you do it, release it, spin the wheel. I don't know if the video is picking it up, but you can hear a little scraping sound from here. All you need to do now is adjust the pads so they are centered on the rotor. On BB7s, there's a big red knob on the outside that adjusts the pads. The way most mechanical disc brakes work is you have a stationary pad and a moving pad. The stationary pad is generally on the outside, closer to the spokes. The moving pad will be on the inside. That's where the cable moves. What happens is the moving pad moves over, it touches the rotor, slightly bends the rotor till it squeezes it between the stationary, bumps the stationary pad, squeezing the two of it. That's how you stop. What we want to do is get the stationary pad as close to the rotor as we can without it making noise, so we don't have to flex the rotor as much. On BB7s, as I said, there are BB5s, even the Avid brakes, there's a big red knob over here. And we can turn that and get your fingers in there. You're supposed to be able to turn it by hand. Sometimes it's kind of hard to do. If you have access to a T25 Torx wrench, it looks like a star wrench. That goes in the center of the brake, and then you can easily turn the knob. Turning the knob counterclockwise, or like you're unscrewing a bolt, will move the pad away from the rotor. So once we had moved the caliper and got it bolted down, I'm going to move this out 3 or 4 clicks. Squeeze the brake. It's important to squeeze the brake because when you turn this, the pad doesn't necessarily slide out nicely with it, and it may be in there just a little bit of an angle. So by squeezing the brake, we will properly seat the pad. To do that, we can spin it, and we now have a quiet brake. But we probably have too much deflection. So I'm going to do is go back, and I'm going to give it 2 clicks back in, squeeze the brake, spin it, and now I'm getting a little bit of noise. So that's enough adjustment in. I'm actually going to back it off 1 click, squeeze the brake, and it is quiet. Once you have that, on the BB7s there's also an adjustment knob right here for adjusting the moving pad. If we take that and start to turn it clockwise, it will move the pad closer to the rotor. And this pad adjustment is more for lever feel than anything. You'll adjust it, squeeze the lever a couple times, and spin it till it's quiet. If at this point this is the proper lever, the lever travel you feel you want, that's great. Some people like it lever to come almost to the bar. Some people want to just barely touch it. So wherever you like your lever to be is how you're going to adjust the inside pad. You can give it a couple more clicks, squeeze it, spin it. Well, now I'm getting some rubbing. So I'm going to go back and back it off 1 click, squeeze the brake, and it is quiet. So this is the best you're going to get your lever travel on this bike. If you want less or more lever travel so it comes back further, you can just unscrew this one. Leaving the stationary pad in place will keep your rotor from being deflected, so we want to leave it that way. That's pretty much all you have to do on these. different brakes work different. Avid BB5s do not have the red knob on the inside. Some of the brakes on some of the other bikes, you just have to do a cable adjustment. If you have to use a cable adjustment, you'll find a barrel adjuster here, or you usually have it on your lever. So to adjust the inside closer, you would just unscrew the barrel, which will pull the cable back and give you more changing the lever travel. If your disc brakes, as you're riding in the rain and your disc brakes are making squealing sounds when you're braking, that's normal. Disc brakes will squeal in the rain. The pads get wet and they just make more noise. I haven't had a pair yet that did. If your pads are making noise as you're normally riding down the road without applying the brake, that's when you want to do the brake adjustment. So, the other brakes we want to talk about today are the drum brakes. Drum brakes are real simple. They basically have two half pads inside the drum that move out to brake it. They don't wear out, usually. They last a long time. After you initially ride the bike for some, the cables and stuff will seat into place and we may have to make an adjustment. Most of them have a barrel adjuster down here on the bottom side. Let me unhook this so we get a better view. They will have a barrel adjuster on here. So all you have to do is unscrew the barrel adjuster. As you screw the barrel adjuster out, it'll tighten the brake up. Obviously you don't want your brake so tight that it doesn't let the wheel spin. This knob will hook on the back of the brake, and this barrel will hook into the front of the brake. And you'll adjust it. And then spin it, and it's spinning freely. If you want less brake lever travel, you can screw the barrel adjuster out. And now my brake's much tighter, and it's still spinning freely. So you can use this barrel adjuster to adjust your lever travel. If you do that, there's a lock nut down here, and make sure you tighten that back up when you're done. That's about all you have to worry about on drum brakes. So today we covered adjusting mechanical disc brakes and adjusting drum brakes. If you have any questions, you can always call us the Hostel Shop. Thank you for watching.